Just when America has reached a breaking point with division, visionary influencer Danni Benson's I'm Proud of You Sis bro movement taps into the pulse and heartbeat of a culture radically torn. But this loving mom's voice of reason and calm has received national recognition.
How do you balance having your children and always traveling with the Yankee organization?
When I became a dad, I said that I would always love like a mother.
I feel like I have to try certain things or act a different way because I know some people or some kids.
So join Danni Benson as she celebrates her special guests on her show and highlights their gifts and contributions to our world.
Hi, everyone. My name is Danni Benson, and please like, share, and follow. I am so excited to have this guest. I am the host of I'm Proud of You Sis. And look, I'm a mom. I have children, and sometimes I want to travel, but I have to sometimes be careful of places to pick where I travel, right? Because if it's just me and my daughters, I just want to make sure that I know everything about the area, everything about the hotel, just everything about the surrounding, things to do, things not to do, because when I'm traveling solo with my kids, safety is my number one priority, especially when I go and leave United States and go to another country. But I have travel influencer Meko on my show. I love her blog. I love her page because she travels with her daughter and her son all over the world. So she wanted to come on the show and talk about how she started and just talk about, how it feels to just travel with your kids. I think it's a wonderful experience, but sometimes I meet people that say they want to travel in groups, and she's also going to advise traveling in groups and giving us specials in what's coming up in her itinerary, so mothers like us can join her, especially if we don't want to just travel by ourselves with our babies. So I want to give my flowers to Meko. I'm so happy she's on I'm Proud of You Sis. Everyone, welcome Meko to the show. Hi, Meko. How are you?
I'm so excited.
Your page is so super cool because I think you're one of the pages that you travel with your kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That is like a novelty because I'm on Instagram for the last 10 years. Don't really see that. I see, single people traveling. I see women traveling by themselves. I see, guys trips, but I never see mommy and babies and kids trips. Yeah. So that's why I'm so glued to your page. Her IG page, everyone, is Travel with Meko, Travel with Meko. Please go and watch her pages, watch where she suggests to go. She gives you tips and everything like that. But I wanted to welcome her on the show because this is Mother's Day. Oh. And for all the mothers out there, I want to wish everyone happy Mother's Day. But it's a privilege for me to have Meko on the show. So Meko, welcome to I'm Proud of You, Sis.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This is such a special time and a special place to be on here for Mother's Day. So I'm excited.
Yeah. And just in time for the summer, just in time to book those tickets and not be afraid to travel with your babies. So tell me, Meko, when this idea just came inside of you?
So Travel with Meko blog actually came about on maternity leave 8 years ago. So I was a young mom. I actually had my first daughter at 19 years old. And so many people told me that my life was over once I had kids. And I almost listened to everyone's fear, their own fears, not my fear. And I was actually going through postpartum and I just felt like I needed to rediscover myself. So I went on a solo trip to Costa Rica. I made a bucket list of things that I just wanted to do for myself and take care of myself. So I went on this crazy solo trip after I had my daughter to Costa Rica, and I went ziplining. I'm extremely afraid of heights. I got my scuba diving license and did all this stuff, and it was just such an empowering experience. And from that trip, I was just like, wow, if I can do this by myself, I can definitely do it with my child. And kids are free until they're 2 years old on a flight. So I was just like, we have to go to as many places as we can. And at the time I was traveling with my kid's father. So we just kept going, and then we were just building content, and soon realized that we can build a life out of this, and I can work full time from home and then also create lifestyle brand content and share it with the world.
So first of all, I don't know if everyone did know this, but now we all know kids travel for free under 2. So I was the same way too. I had twins. I was like, we're going here. We're going here. Who we going to visit? Because the moment they turn 2.1 day, forget about it. They are charged full seating as adults. Don't understand it.
Yeah.
But that's the way it is. So for all the mommies out there that have kids under 2 years old, please travel if you can, as much as you can, because once those babies are charged adult seats, premium seats, it's like, that's all I gotta say. It's you times 4. Sometimes it's $1,200. Sometimes it's $2,500, depending on your last minute trip and where you're going. So okay, so where was one of the first places you went to visit with your daughter, right? Your daughter's the firstborn. Where was the first place you went to go with her to visit?
So we actually went to Orlando. One of my best friends lives in Florida, and I feel like it was kind of just a practice run to see how my child was on the plane. And I feel like it was actually easier flying with infants because they kind of don't move and they just sit there. They just drink milk. They don't need much and they sleep most of the flight. So I did that short little trip first. And then eventually we just went to the Caribbean because it was still short flights from New York. They're probably like 3-4 hours. So we went to like Puerto Rico, Mexico. So yeah.
So let me ask you a question. When you're scheduling your flights, what I used to do is schedule like the last flight out because I figured that there'll be sleep. So what is like your routine? Like what is what is like advice you give to people? Because I never wanted to do the first flight out only because it's so crazy at the airport.
Yeah. So I definitely agree. I hate morning flights just personally for me. And my kid is wide awake. They just slept all these hours and then they're going to be up on a flight. So I like to do nighttime flights. If it is during the daytime, because there's not always nighttime flights, and my kid is old enough, I used to take them to the park before, get all their energy out, and then we would get on that flight or just have them walk around the airport for a long period of time. And then I also fed my kids on the plane. So it kind of just wasted time when we were traveling, just so they get all that energy out.
Do you think your kids are used to traveling now?
Yeah, they are. They know the deal. They know airport terminals. Like they're well traveled now.
So okay, so let me ask you this. When I'm on a plane sometimes and kids are crying because of the air pressure, you know, the air pressure, like it goes down and kids are crying. Were you afraid? I had one of those experiences where I was looking at my child like, can you please stop? Because everyone's looking at me and they're like, can you get the screaming? So have you ever had these situations? And if you have, how do you even handle them? Because I love flying with my kids on the plane, but I can't stand other people not understanding like kids are humans too. Yeah. And they get all weirded out about the kids crying as if they weren't a baby themselves. So how do you handle that?
Yeah. So actually, I would try to have my kids, like when I was nursing, I wouldn't feed them until like takeoff or landing. And also too, for other kids that can like chew gum or just chew food, I would try to feed them then. So they have that constant like moving motion, and that would help a lot with their ears. Or you can also give them Tylenol before, if you're into, giving your child medication. You can do that before or after the flight. There was only one time my child like really just had random ear pain when we were landing, and there was really nothing we could do. Just like you said, it was just like, oh my gosh, what do? I just gave him some gum and was just like, just chew. And I'm like rubbing their ears and calm them down a little bit. But that's why it's good to always just try to be proactive, make sure they're always constantly chewing something for takeoff and landing.
Okay, so you have like a group. Like one of the specialties that you do is like travel with mommy, travel with kids. So what are the places and destinations that you are planning to go this year alone?
So yeah, I organize group trips with other moms so they can come with me and travel with me and their kids. This summer, we will be going to Jamaica in June, and we will also go to Puerto Rico in August. So you will not need a passport for Puerto Rico because we're trying to accommodate, other parents that, can't get a passport. And 2025, we're working on more destinations now.
Oh, that is so cool. Have you ever been, what's the furthest country that you have traveled with your children?
We traveled to Australia and also Asia.
My God. So
Yeah.
how did they handle that long flight? Because going to Australia is basically 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And there's what happens? You get jet lag. So how did that work for a child to even just get just to, because for us, you just said you just came from Utah and you're already trying to, get your body back to the Eastern Standard Time zone. How does that work with a kid's clock? Do they look at you crazy like, mommy, why are we on a plane for 24 hours?
Yeah, well, we bring a lot of entertainment for them. So they're just distracted the whole time. And also, we just kind of try to beat jet lag. So when we do land, and if it's daytime, we're just going to stay up. We're going to find an activity that they can do so we could kind of just beat the jet lag. Or we just also have an extra day where we could just rest the whole day and we're not going out. So it just kind of depends when we're landing.
So did they love Australia?
Yeah, they did. So Maya was about 2 years old, 3 years old. And then Cameron, he was still a baby. So yeah, we had to fly 24 hours with an infant. So it was crazy.
Please tell me, how did you manage that? 24 hours in a plane. You can't really move that much.
Mm-hmm.
You have it. You know what? It's the great invention is the iPad. Because I know those were one of the times that you were like, here. Because let me tell you something. Mm-hmm. These kids could, like, if you let them, they could be on the iPad 24/7 and just go to the bathroom and just say, I need something to eat. It amazes me. So I know the iPad is one of the useful things that you could bring on a trip to keep kids entertained. But what else? What are specific things that you did for your children to keep them entertained for those 24 hours? Because sometimes I feel like a plane is a little bit claustrophobic to be sitting in that long. So as a mom, give us some tips if you have any.
Yes. So for that flight, again, we flew at nighttime. So half of the flight we were asleep. And also, when you have an infant under 2, you can request a bassinet seat. So, and this is for free. So you can call the airline ahead of time, or you can do it upon checking in. But I always recommend calling ahead of time because if there's other infants on the plane, you may not get that seat. So that's like the extra legroom seat. So you'll have enough space for you and the baby to lay out. And also your baby could lay in a bassinet while you're resting as well. So that's a tip for an infant.
But what's a bassinet? Is that like the car seat?
It's not a car seat. It's literally like a little tiny crib. Yeah, that attaches like right in front of you. And the plane offers it for free, completely free. You just have to request it. It's in the extra legroom space. Yeah.
I didn't even know that even existed.
Yeah, most people don't know that. I didn't even know that. I felt like I found out like when my daughter was actually like 1 year old. One of the flight attendants actually told me, she's like, do you want a bassinet seat? I'm like, what is that? Like, why don't they tell you this,
No, because they don't want everyone requesting a bassinet. They don't want everyone requesting. This is why people don't tell you stuff, because then everyone, that's why I think people love TikTok and they don't love, they love and hate it, because it's like, if you put something on TikTok, it's like everyone knows a secret. So when everyone knows a secret, it's just like some people love and some people hate it. You know what I mean? So if you say bassinet and you do like something on TikTok, then every single mom tomorrow is gonna say, "Can I get a bassinet?" And it's like they probably only have a couple. They probably don't even have enough for every person that needs it for the plane. So I guess the less people that know, sometimes they feel like it's the better because they don't want you to know those little secrets.
Exactly. So we request that. We'll have extra legroom space. Put a blanket on the floor since there's an extra legroom space, and they would play on the floor. We'll get toys. I always like to pack their favorite toys. I always tell people, know your child before you leave. Like, figure out their favorite toys, their games they like to play. We bring card games. We bring Play-Doh. My kids love Play-Doh. Bring blocks, coloring books, and also the iPad as well. And a bunch of snacks. I bring their favorite snacks. It's also like kind of like a briding thing we do. Like, If you have good behavior, you'll definitely get this, and just space them out between the flight.
All right. So I'm a mom. I'm afraid to travel with my kids sometimes. Like I travel within the United States, but everyone's telling me that I have to take the deep dive and travel with them outside of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So no disrespect to any other countries. What are your safety precautions in traveling? Not to say United States is the safest place either. I'm not saying that, but when you go outside of the country, just give me some safety tips that I need to do to be aware of, so I don't get myself and my children caught in a sticky situation.
Yes. So research is always your best bet. I researched the crime. I researched things to do. And also there's a US government website that tells you levels to the country that you are traveling to. So, and the levels are do not travel to. It's like 4 levels: medium, and then take precaution, and then green is a go. There's no problems, you can travel to. So I always look into that and take that into consideration. If it's telling me that you should reconsider your travel, I'm definitely going to reconsider my travel, like if they're having terrorist threats. So I'm always looking for that. When I do travel to the country, I always set up private transportation. So I'm not just getting into a random taxi, or I'm just stuck there trying to figure out how am I going to get to this hotel. And then I'm just also looking lost, And then I also have a safety card. Both of my kids, they carry this safety card around, whether we're going through the airport and whether we're just traveling or sightseeing. And on the safety card, it has 2 emergency contacts, and also where we're staying. I put a hotel business card in there just in case they ever get lost. God forbid that. But I also tell my kids instructions. I always prepare them. I always tell my kids it's better to be prepared so they don't panic in any type of situation, and they always know what to do.
Well, that is good advice.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. What I wanted to ask you, what is the difference between traveling with your daughter and your son? Who's easier? Who's harder? Like, is it like a sex thing, or it's just like it's a personality thing?
A little both, because boys are crazy. My son is crazy. He's a little like me though. So like he's down for anything. Like, I'm an adventure person. My daughter's like the princess. She's like, I'm not going to do that, But my daughter loves zip lining too. And I don't like zip lining. I'm afraid of heights. But she encourages me. Yeah, she encourages me. So that's the thing, the beauty about traveling with kids, they even push you out of your own comfort zone and your fears. But yeah, I definitely take my kids on solo trips. So sometimes I just take one with my daughter, and then my son. My daughter's older, so obviously she can do so much more. And then my son, he's a little limited. So I do like to do little solo trips with them.
So do they mind? So when you go on trips, do you have excursions planned before you get there, or as you get there, you go to the front desk and find out what excursions are planned? And what do you look for? How do you know you're getting scammed, like overcharged? And when you go to these excursions, do you only like trust the hotel ones? Because sometimes when you lay on the beach, sometimes there's people, walking by and selling excursions. Like, what is your best advice on how to purchase these excursions?
So if you're a first-time traveler, I think it's okay to go with a hotel. It's a safe bet. You're not getting scammed and you're staying there. I personally don't like to book with the hotel because they normally cost more than the ones you can find on TripAdvisor. So normally I just Google basically the tours I want to do. And most of the time they're off TripAdvisor and you can read real reviews. Or I also go off recommendations. Sometimes I go through Instagram hashtags and I just see what other the person that I found their page from, what company they went through. And I just get that own personal experience. I ask questions from other people and I just book through that way because I try to save money. It's costly when you're traveling with kids, and going through a hotel, it can cost a lot.
So do you rather do hotel or Airbnb?
Half and half. It depends where I'm traveling to. And also the cost as well. We come from New York, so we like our own space a lot of the times. Airbnbs have a bigger space. And also my kids can be as loud as they want. Sometimes when I'm at a hotel, I feel like I have to be mindful of my kids like running around, being loud. So the Airbnb gives us our own space. And you can get a super host too if some people are like, oh, well, I don't want to clean up after myself. You can hire a chef, you can, hire daily cleaning. But hotels are nice. Like if you want to do an all-inclusive resort, you have everything right there. You don't even have to leave your hotel. There's food and excursions as well. So for a first-time traveler, I always recommend go to all-inclusive resort, but we like local stays a lot of the time. So sometimes that enables us to, when we get an Airbnb, we're able to have that local stay. We go to local restaurants and meet locals, and it just opens up to a different experience rather than staying at a resort.
Yeah, because I love tasting the locals' food. Like wherever we go, I love just eating authentic food. Because there's something about when you're traveling, you want to be like the natives.
Yeah.
You want to dive into the culture, and sometimes I feel like hotels are just so bland. And they have the typical thing, the pools there, the bars there. So sometimes I feel like when I go to stay at hotels, I don't even feel like I left the country.
Yeah, same, exactly. And everything's right there, so you don't really have to leave, So
yeah, and then you know what? I like to talk to people because I like to hear stories. I'm like a stories person. Like anytime I'm meeting people, and I suggest everyone get Google Translate. It's the best thing ever. Wherever I go, we used to just put the language in, and then we could have conversations back and forth. So you don't have to. This is so cool. You don't even have to speak the language anymore. You can go to any country in the world as long as you have a passport, and as long as you follow their rules. Because not every country is like America. So you can't be going to other people's country and acting up, because 9 times out of 10, America will leave you right there. All right.
That is true.
Because you know what? I one day want to go to Dubai, and I want to take my children. Have you ever been to Dubai? And if so, have you ever brought your children?
I haven't, but I heard how many strict rules they have.
That's why I don't want to go.
Yeah, I know.
I'm scared.
I know.
You don't realize the freedoms you have in this country and the crazy crap that you do until you go to someone else's country, especially when you're a female.
Yeah.
And they look at you like they want to really call you a bad name, but I'm like, but I'm American. Like, do you know what I mean? So my friend went to Dubai, and she was telling me that in certain places they have to be covered up. Marijuana is legal in the United States. It's not legal there. So you can't just be like smoking. She was telling me all these rules to the point that I was like, did you really have fun?
Right.
You know what I mean? Or was it just you wanted to be in the desert with the camels? And just take like a picture. So I want people to be aware that when you do leave the country, act accordingly to. Goodness, I'm sorry. Someone is calling me, and I forgot to put focus on. Yeah. So when you go to someone else's country, act accordingly to their laws. Okay. So what are you manifesting in 2025? What are you manifesting? What do you want? How do you want your company to grow? Because I think you have like a unique idea. And I want you to give all your handles. We're going to continue talking, but I want the audience to know all your handles right now, how to contact you, to maybe join the group that's going on a trip in Jamaica in June, or going to Puerto Rico in August. So give everyone all your handles first.
Yes. So you can find me at Travel with Meko all across the board, TikTok, Instagram, and my website, travelwithmeko.com. And also our group page is Let's Just Bring the Kids.
Oh, I love that. So do men come on these trips too, or it's only moms?
No, so it's only mom, but that is our goal for 2025, because people do want to bring their significant others. So we are definitely going to have more customizable trips in 2025 where you can bring your significant other.
Yeah, I guess you want to bring a significant other and the kids, right?
Yeah, some people do. Yeah. So I started this out just, because I wanted to empower more women and their kids. So that's why we just did a mommy and me trip first.
No, but I think like you should have like different segments. I think what I would do is, I'm not telling you what to do.
Yeah, no. But give me recommendations.
No. I would do the mommy and kids trips.
Mm-hmm.
And I would do if mommy and me and significant other trips,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes moms might not want to be around other guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So especially if they're not in a relationship,
Yeah.
you know, like they're gonna feel like,
No.
you know, or so you could either and you could have combination trips. But
Mm-hmm.
I think like your specialty is mommy and me. I know there's so many women. Sometimes women are in a relationship or married and they just want to go with their kids, like without their husbands being there or their boyfriends being there or their
Mm-hmm.
kids' fathers being there. They just want to have like that time with their children. So that's a novelty too, because we're so used to either depending on our significant other to do trips together. It's like having a girl trip, but you just bring your kids along. Like that's what I always wanted to do. I wanted to have a girl trip, and actually we all just bring our kids.
Yeah.
And we don't do that. It's either like it's a girl trip and it's just adults,
Mm-hmm.
or it's like we have trips, but everyone has like their separate trips.
Yep.
Right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's why I love your group, because I feel like it's like a girl trip, but yo, bring the kids with you so you don't have to find babysitting, which is sometimes hard for a lot of people, especially when you're going out leaving for so many days. I don't know how cool your parents are, your family is. I don't know if they're working, not working, but sometimes it's really hard to find, childcare,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you're going away for at least, more than a weekend sometimes, because if the kids have school sometimes, now we have to depend on those people to, take your kids to school. So I wanted to ask you, are your kids homeschooled?
No, they're not. They're in school now. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, so
Yeah.
okay, so how did that change? Because this whole school system thing, I love it, but it messed up my travel now, because everything has to go according to school to the point that I personally don't like to travel during spring break, winter break, because that's when everyone is traveling. So what advice do you give? Do you travel off peak, meaning that some people I know, spring break will be next week, but they'll pull the kids out of school for a week and say, I'm going to avoid all the chaos.
Yeah. So my kids are in charter school, so they have a little different schedule than most like public schools. So, but we always try to schedule ahead of time because it can be really expensive on like spring breaks or holidays. So we literally try to book at least like 4 months in advance, 6 months in advance, to get those like cheap tickets. But we also do take long weekend vacations. I don't mind taking my kid out for an extra day of school or something like that. So we'll take a vacation on like the small break holidays where they have 3 days off, and then I'll just take like an extra day off because they're not missing much like from one day. And I also let their teachers know ahead of time, so any work that they're missing they can just make up. And my kids are, well traveled, and they're really good in school, so I don't mind taking them out.
And the cool thing about your kids is I always feel like you learn so much more when you travel than just reading a book or watching TV, because you're actually like doing it, right? Like physically hands-on doing it.
Yeah.
And I know your kids are so like, you're passing this generational wealth to them. The wealth of like traveling and not being stuck. There's some people that I know I know it's crazy that I say this, never left New York.
I know.
Never left the 5 boroughs.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them just stay in their county.
Mm-hmm.
Because I tell people all the time that you got to take time and travel. I know it's expensive. People say, oh, traveling is expensive, but Meko just said it. Book 6 months in advance. Find out those off-peak times to to travel sometimes, because what happens is, I think all the airlines know when spring break is. They all know when winter break is. The hotels know. So all of a sudden the prices are all jacked up because they know that everyone's going to try to travel at those periods. So what do you suggest for someone who is single? Do you suggest people traveling and all by themselves?
Yeah, why not? I think it's a very empowering experience. Like I said, it helped me get out my comfort zone and learn about myself, because normally when I was traveling like with my kid's father, he would order everything. He would do everything for me. I didn't have to worry about anything. So I really had to like get to know myself and get comfortable with myself and also speaking to strangers. And also
That's the thing. Okay, so you have to be a people person, right? Because do you ever go to dinner by yourself?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
You know
Mhm.
what's so crazy? My little cousin was asking me for advice. Like, I'm sitting in a restaurant by myself. I'm tired of my friends not wanting to go out and eat. And she was like, Auntie, what do I do? And I'm like, you know what? I have not done that in such a long time because I always have kids with me or whatever.
Mhm.
So let's empower women for a second. Tell me some tips. Like, if I go out by myself, whether it's at a restaurant or I'm traveling, how do I get to interact with people without having like the fear of everyone looking at me, but be comfortable enough to have conversations with people I don't know?
Yeah. So if you're going to a restaurant, I would definitely sit at a bar rather than a table, because then there's a bunch of single people at the bar and they're more likely to talk to you. Sometimes I even make conversation with the waiter as well, and then they'll talk to me. And a lot of times they know like regulars at the restaurant. So they'll like introduce you to somebody. They'll be like, oh, this person comes here all the time, or this person is visiting, just moved here from, I don't know, Mexico and something like that. And, they connect you with other people. Another way I meet people on vacation, if I'm traveling solo, is going on excursions. So I always schedule an excursion like the first day there, and I'm bound to meet somebody, another solo traveler. Also, if you stay at hostels, if you don't know what a hostel is, it's shared living. I'm not really a fan of staying at
You know
hostels.
what? I went to
Yeah.
Cartagena. I went to
Uh-huh.
Cartagena, Colombia,
Mm-hmm.
and we stayed at Airbnb, but across the street it was a hostel.
Yeah.
And I was like, would I ever do that? So it's like a bunch of rooms, like it's a bunch of bunk beds,
Yeah.
and it's really cheap. I think it was like $60 a night or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I would do that because I have to
Yeah.
really close my eyes, go to sleep, and trust these people around me, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
how does that work? Because I don't want to. No, I'm in a no judgment zone, because that's me, but that doesn't have to be you. I don't want to. Just like when Meko said when she first had a baby at an early age, everyone projected on her, and I hate. I don't want to say the word hate, but don't project like that, because her path is her path. Her choices are her choices. And because you have babies early, because my sisters have babies early, and
Mm-hmm.
they're both nurses, so it doesn't dictate your trajectory if you have kids early. Matter of fact, my mom had me when she was 19. Most women before this generation all had kids like in their teen years, going into like early 21, 22, which is why they're 40, the kid is 20, and they're just like popping in like a top because they had kids early. So I don't want no one to judge someone that has kids early. I think kids are a beautiful thing. They're a beautiful gift. And whenever God wants to bless you with them, you just gotta be ready. You just gotta be ready. But I love your empowerment that you could have been that person when everyone was telling you that your life is over. And sometimes you listen to it and you really do think your life is over.
Yeah. I know.
And
So,
I see so many people that actually listen to them.
mm-hmm. Yep.
You've met people like that, right? Had kids early.
Yep.
Someone said,
It almost was me, but I was like, you know what? I can't let this be me.
so okay, so what was it about you that you did not want this to be you? What clicked in you? What was the fire in you that you felt like, no, like this is not going to be my story?
Mm-hmm. Um, hmm. I guess it was just really my postpartum, really, that like I didn't know what to do with myself. I I just didn't know what to do with
You
myself.
know,
I
you
didn't
know what's so sad? No one, we really don't talk about postpartum depression. Everyone thinks that once you have a baby, you're so happy. And a
Mhm.
lot of women, it's like a silence thing that we go through because we feel guilty that we're having this newborn baby next to us and everyone is so happy. But either it's your hormones, your emotions, or maybe the stress of everything going on at the same time. Some women do suffer from, postpartum, but we don't talk about it. So I just want to give you the floor to
Mhm.
just to talk about it, like,
Mhm.
or why you think it happened, or did you realize it was postpartum then, or you're realizing it now after the fact, looking back?
I think I realized it right away because I did hear about it before I had my daughter, but I've never had issue with depression or just mixed emotions. And once I had my daughter, I was just crying for everything. I could drop a pencil and I'm just like, what is wrong? Like, is my baby gonna love me? Like, I don't know, you know? And I just didn't really have any guidance on how to be a mom because most of my friends are 19, so they didn't have any babies at the time. So I'm like the only, I wouldn't say teen because I'm older than 18, but none of my friends had kids. So I'm just like, what do I do? Who am I? I'm trying to rediscover, myself as a mom instead of just Meko.
Yeah. Did you feel overwhelmed?
Yeah, I was definitely overwhelmed. Yeah, it was overwhelming.
Yeah. And you know what I realized? Like school, no one teaches you how to be a parent.
Mm-hmm.
You're winging it, you're doing it based on what maybe your parents did or whatever you looked at as an example of what parents do.
Mm-hmm.
So having, and I know there's a book like what do you expect when you're pregnant, like that book like you always get at the baby shower, which does really nothing for me really because I'm like, why are
Yeah.
you giving me this book? Because everyone that got in this book was like, what is the purpose? No offense to the author, I get what you're trying to do, but it still didn't help me. It gave me a little trickle of things, but it wasn't really dealing with what I was going through.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you get yourself out of the postpartum? Did you ask for help? Because sometimes as mothers, it's hard for us to ask for help.
Yeah, it was because especially when I told like my family I wanted to do this solo trip, a lot of them thought I was selfish, like you're leaving a baby. But luckily I was like my partner, my kid's father was supportive of it. Because like I said, I was like trying to rediscover my own self. I wrote this whole bucket list of things I wanted to do. Because like I said, I was a young mom. I didn't get to live my life. I wasn't even able to drink at that point, So I didn't have most experiences my people around my age have, so that's why I was like, let me make a bucket list and do something for myself, because if I'm not able to take care of myself, I'm not able to take care of an infant. So I kind of didn't really want to explain anything else to my family because like I said, they thought this decision was selfish, leaving my kids. It was like a 4-day trip. It wasn't that long, but I was just like, I need to do something for myself. And I just left as long as my partner was supportive of me and he's like, just go figure it out. I feel like that really helped me on my journey.
And you know what? That's why I'm so proud of you, sis. I want to give you my flowers. You want to know why I'm so proud of you? I'm proud of everything that you're doing, but I'm also proud that people expect when you have babies that you shouldn't put your self-care first.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't put your self-love first. You should, and you said something and you nailed it. You said, how am I going to take care of these babies
Mm-hmm.
if my cup is not full?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then I'm coming from a place of negative deposits, and with negative deposits brings stress on the baby.
Yeah.
You're yelling, you're frustrated, you have no patience because you don't have nothing left in you.
Mm-hmm.
So you basically, chose you basically saved yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't take that direction and you took the projection of you're selfish, you're selfish, you're selfish,
Mm-hmm.
you could have been not traveling.
Mm-hmm.
You could have been a mom, but not taking care of yourself and your needs. And I feel like a happy mom makes a happy child.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. And a stressful mom makes a stressful and people be like, what are you talking about? Just like I have like a puppy, right? And when I went to go get him, they said, oh, however your house is how your puppy's going to be. I was like, what are you talking about? There was like your energy in your house. So when they meet my puppy, he's like, oh, you're so calm, you're so quiet. It was like, because my house is calm and quiet. But sometimes I meet other people's puppy and they're, and I'm like, oh, so what is going on in that house that this animal is like, like, so,
Yeah.
so if your self-care is not top tier in your life, then your babies will get the negative part of you that you really don't want to share with them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right? So,
Yeah.
okay, so tell me, where do you see yourself in 10 years? Okay, let's do 5, because I don't know if the world's going to be here in 10 years, but let's do 5.
Yeah.
Let's manifest, because I am the person of manifestation. And I'm telling you right now, guys,
Mm-hmm.
when you manifest, when you think it, it shall happen. I think that is a secret that when we die and we go to God, God was like, yo, if you would have just thought about it and concentrated on it, you would have had it. And I'm going to be like, ah, damn. So I want to know what's in your heart, what's in your mind, what's your manifestation? What do you want to happen? I know we talked about 2024, 2025, but let's talk about like, this is your business. This is your baby.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how will it look? Like, you know how Instagram started and now it's like, woo. How will Travel with Meko be in 5 years?
So I definitely want to do more group trips consistently. And like I said, different different types of group travel, like solo travel with their significant other. And also too, I want to be hosting yearly events, like parenthood events. And at these events, we'll have like resources for parents as well, and also be able to travel as well.
And you know something, you probably are doing this already. You should link up with travel agencies, link up with like hotels, link up with, anything that's like, you're probably doing this already. I'm just saying this. Just link up with anything that's travel to see if you guys could have like a partnership.
Yeah.
And like, okay, you give me a discount, you give this as a discount, I could get X amount of people to come. And then you start building those like relationships all over the world. And that can also be like part of your business manifestation of just growing market share and growing dollars just with the part. You know how you have sponsors, they basically sponsor you. And then you get free everything, free this, free that, and you get paid for bringing all these people to their establishment, and also get paid for doing digital creation, like a digital creator. So this is what I want to know. What got you into the digital creator field? Because you are so good at it. You do so many cool things. Like I saw the one with your daughter, like you've been everywhere, but you guys did the same exact thing, but you were in different countries. And I thought that was so cool. So tell me like, how do you, because you make me want to travel when I'm on your page.
Oh, good. I love that.
You make me want to travel with my kids, and sometimes they drive me crazy. So you make me want to travel with my kids.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, yeah. It's not that bad. So tell me where your creation comes from, because you have a great eye for creating like digital for the Instagram platform, Reels, and also TikTok. Like, where does that come from?
Yeah, so most of my creation is just off of what other people tell me that they want to see, or just like questions I want to know. So if I traveled somewhere and it took me a long time to research this like subject that I'm looking for, I'm like, I think this is a good subject to share. And also obviously the destination, things to do. And also too, sometimes I just, I don't know. Sometimes I just ask people as well, like, what do you want to see?
So when you're doing your digital creation, do you have like an iPod standing there? Because your kids are like actresses, and I don't know, but they cooperate, so they love this. So they must be so used to it, because my kids would just be so out of whack, so out of line, where I got to do it like 100 times to just get this perfect video. Like, your kids are just they're part of the whole. I love it because they know the play.
Yeah. So they're kind of used to this at this point. In the beginning, they didn't really like it, but they kind of see what comes along with it now. They're like, oh, if I'm in this for like 5 seconds, oh, we're going to be at a free hotel. Okay, cool. So it takes some time and building. I never force the kids to do anything that they don't want to do, especially brands. If they want my kids in it, I literally tell them like, you're going to have to pay us as well. Like my kids are a separate thing. So if it's just going to be me, that's my payment. My kids, that's a whole nother thing. And that's in their savings as well. So my kids are not for free. So at all. So yeah.
Good job, Mom.
But my daughter, she loves the camera. She doesn't matter. She's going to be in it. My son doesn't like the camera as much. So you won't see him in as much feed as like my daughter. And I totally respect that. But sometimes he's like, hey, I want to be in this. So he has moods that he wants to be in it and not. So, but yeah.
Well, how old is your son? Because maybe he'll grow out of it.
Yeah, maybe he will. He's 5 years old.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's 5.
He's tired. He's like, I don't want to do this. And I'm just like, all right, fine. Or like we do it early in the morning. Like all our content doesn't really take long to get anymore. Like they know what to do. And we're just like, all right, 5 seconds, done. All right, smile, done. And we just enjoy the rest of the vacation.
See, this is the beauty of pouring into your kids as early as possible, like doing things like that with them, because it becomes something that is like second nature to them. So the fact that you travel with them early, like some people are afraid to travel with their kids early. They want to just wait for them to get a little bit older. But the fact that you took that jump and it was like, I'm not going to let fear stop me. I bet you your daughter's going to be a content creator too.
Yeah. Oh, she has her own channel and everything, but if I had the time to edit her channel, I definitely would.
Bro, do you know how much these kids get on YouTube?
I know, girl.
Girl, they make millions. And yeah. I remember like my kids used to just sit there. I'm like, what are you watching? Oh, I'm watching them play. I'm like, girls, you could do the same thing and someone could watch. But I know it takes time, but I guess those parents probably like maybe quit their job or something, because these kids on YouTube especially have like millions of views. And I'm like, who is watching this? This is so... It's just so okay. I don't know. Well, who's watching it? It must be a kid thing, because I'm sitting there like, who's watching it? Right. Your daughter will become a digital creator, and you know what would be cute? If she's a digital creator for young kids to travel.
Oh, that is cute. I love that. See, all right, we're gonna manifest that.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah. So she could have like her own channel, and basically, we love you, mommy. But she'll have her own channel and she's going to do her little creation and have kids watch her. Yeah. And have her do kid stuff that kids would love to watch. Yeah. Yeah. I'm manifesting that for you, because I think, you know, your baby is, you know, your babies are gorgeous. But since your daughter loves it, why not make money from something that she actually loves, enjoys, and doesn't see it as work? Exactly. You know what I mean? Because best believe my daughters will probably be sitting there watching her. Yeah. Yeah. Like, mommy, we got to go to Australia. Mommy, we got to go to Jamaica, because Meko's daughter went to Jamaica. Mommy, we have to go to Finland. And you make it around like kids' activities. You know, so you love that, right?
I love that.
I love it. I just love to share information. So whatever comes in my heart, I will share it and pass it along. But that's like another stream of income. And that's like another stream that you could just keep putting in her savings for college or for whatever she wants to do. And I hope that you have this as a business, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So you know the trick, right? You could pay your kids up to $12,000 a year and then write it off in your taxes. Yep. So, okay, I just wanted people to know that. So kids do get paid. How they get paid is when we pay our kids, we write it off their taxes, because that's considered their money and it's taxable. It's not taxable income. So for parents out there who's starting a business for their children, that's something to think about. So, okay, so Jamaica, where are you staying in Jamaica?
We are going to stay in Montego Bay.
Oh, I've been there.
Yeah. Did you like?
Yeah. It's like, and there's a restaurant. Maybe they all do it, where you go in this high cliff and you do the deep jump.
Yeah, that's a Negril.
Oh, that's Negril. Right? No, they have that in Montego Bay too. Oh, no. Montego Bay has no water, right? Yes, they do have water. Yeah.
I don't know. Look it up now, because maybe we might take an extra stop.
Yeah. It's like a restaurant on the cliff. It's on the cliff, and then you are able to just jump off the cliff and go into the water. It's a high cliff though, but it's a cute digital creation spot. Okay.
I'm gonna look that up. I'm girl. I heard that there's another restaurant and a cliff. Find it for us. Yeah.
And also Puerto Rico. I love Puerto Rico. I've been there before. What are you what are you doing in Puerto Rico? Sometimes when I go to Puerto Rico, I feel like I'm in the Bronx. Yeah. No offense, but I feel like it's like a little Bronx.
Yeah. So we're gonna be in San Juan, and we're gonna be staying on the beach, and also there's a casino nearby.
Right next to Intercontinental Hotel.
Right.
And it's the casino, right? Yeah.
Yep. We have like an indoor zip lining and an arcade as well that we'll be doing. And also we're going to have our own catamaran tour. So we're getting our own private yacht as well. So everything that we do on our trip, everything is private. So it's just us that we get to enjoy.
So let me ask you a question. Okay, so let's talk about this. When you go away with your kids, do you get babysitting at night? Like, do you get to enjoy the night on the town? So what is a caveat of bringing your children?
So no, I normally just bring my kids. Like, we try to go a little early. Like if I want to have some fun, we'll go at least like 7, 8 o'clock at night. So then I can kind of see like the nightlife a little bit, because then it gets popping like, dinner time. But if I travel with my kids, I'm not going out. I don't really hire babysitters. And if there's sitters at the resort, then you have to still stay on the resort. You can't leave. And it's only to a certain time. It's only probably till like 9 o'clock, like at the resort. But you can hire sitters. I just don't do it. I'm in another country. I don't really feel comfortable as much to do that. If I want to go to a destination where I want to go experience the nightlife, I'm not taking my kids. So there's destinations I do choose that I want to take my kids, and destinations I don't.
So there are times that you travel without your kids.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's like one of the hard things when you do travel with your kids, because I do like to do the nightlife.
Yeah.
To see the locals, like how they move at night, because the day is different than the night. You know what I mean? The day people seem a little bit more calmer. At night, it's like everyone is just like, we only live once. So
bring grandma friend.
yeah, but you know what? I respect it, because I would be afraid to leave my kids with because I know there are some hotels who do provide it, but you know what would be a good business? Having a 24-hour babysitting for traveling.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I thought that too.
You said what?
I definitely thought of that.
Yeah, because so many people want to travel because they don't have their parents around. They don't. It's not how it used to be, because the world has gotten smaller. People living all different parts of the world, so our family sometimes is not where we exactly live at. Like back in the day, no one moved. So you stayed here, your cousin stayed here, your aunt stayed here. It was like everyone just stayed, so you had help. You had like a village, right? But now that the world gotten smaller and there's so many places you can move, I think sometimes it's hard to travel with kids and enjoy the nightlife. Or some adults don't have they don't have like anyone where they could just drop the kids off and go away for the week. So they're always traveling with their kids. So that would be a great business to have, just to have like a 24 concierge of like just watching kids, and it'd be like an American company. So that
exactly
that is nothing going on, and there ain't no kidnapping going on, like trafficking going on, because those are the things that go through my mind. Huh?
Background checks and all that. But that's why we also do the group trips too, because moms get alone time, and some of the moms know each other, so they're just like, all right, you go do your thing, and we'll stay here with the kids, or all their kids are together at the what is it, the child place,
like wherever they're hanging out, wherever the kids are hanging out, the child pool.
The kids entertain each other, so we get a lot of our alone time, and we get to have our little nightlife in the hotel together.
Yeah, and then sometimes you'll get a mom that doesn't like to go out at night, and they'll be like, oh, okay, I'll watch all the kids.
Yeah.
It's like a designated driver. Some people don't want to drink. You're like, okay, you're coming with us, because we know you're not going to drink. You're coming with us.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly.
So definitely try to get get those moms together, and then the kids build friendships too, and the moms build friendships too.
Yeah.
So it's going to be definitely like a growing network. So I want to tell Meko, please give all your handles again for everybody out there.
Yeah, so it's Travel with Meko all across the board: TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, my website, travelwithmeko.com. And then my second page for our group travel is Let's Just Bring the Kids.
I love that. I'm so proud of you, sis. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I'm proud of you, sis. See you next week. And I want to wish every single mom happy Mother's Day. Do you want to give any blessings to the mom out there, Meko? Any blessings?
Yes. So I live by the motto, motherhood without limits. So as a mother, you have many roles in life. You are a teacher, you are a chef, you're everything to a kid. So don't set a limit on what you can do, and believe in yourself, and don't listen to other people's fears.
And any advice for young mothers, like mothers that are in their teens that are watching the show?
So age is just a number. So don't have that age in your head as a fear. You can do anything that you put your mind to.
Okay. Any advice for mothers who are afraid to travel with their children?
Come on our group trips. For sure. Come on our group trips, or, go with a friend, bring a friend, a grandmother, and go together.
And any advice, this is the last advice I'm going to ask you, for mothers who can't really afford these trips,
Mhm.
are you going to have some trips that, like, what are the price points of your trips? Just
Mhm.
so for the mothers out there, because there's some mothers that could afford it, some others that can't, depending on where they work out and how many children they have. Do you have affordable trips? What are the prices of your trips, and and so on and so forth?
Yeah. So I try to make them as affordable as possible. It really depends on the destination. I try to make them as all inclusive as possible so you don't have to worry about anything there. But you can always make travel affordable. One travel tip that I have is go to Skyscanner. It's a search engine, but you can search the cheapest ticket from your origin. So I'm based in New York, and you can find the cheapest flight out of New York from Skyscanner. It searches everywhere. There's literally tickets less than $300. Like you can fly around the US for under $100 on Skyscanner. So that's how I kind of started out traveling. I chased the deal and not the destination because there's so many destinations in this world. So definitely check out Skyscanner as well.
Well, thank you so much for your beautiful advice. Thank you for all the mothers, the women, and everyone who's watching. And I will see you next week. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.